Alright, happy August the 1st. It's hard to believe, but there's like 4 months left in the strange year of 2021. So I thought I'd do a video on just some tips and tricks and crap to use in the fish room that helps. I know everybody reuses different things to make life easier in the fish room, and this is actually one of those things. It's a small tank, but anyway, it's a very, very, very nice All Red Albino. This is one of the long fin ones, and it's actually the oldest one that mothered all of the other ones that I have. So I'll show some of them shortly. And I put a ruler behind so you can get an idea that she is pretty darn large. So of course it starts at 20 because I couldn't fit the other end of the yardstick in there. So I believe she's around 3 inches long, 2.5. And problem is I got to get her near the ruler so it's an accurate measurement. But you can kind of see it's a large fish. She has, like, I guess the gull wing kind of pec fins. Very, very, very big dorsal and a wide tail. And now she's hiding behind a plant. So anyway, you can get an idea how large she is. So that's the good news. The bad news is she's gotten very, very, very aggressive. She was in with a couple of males, which are actually her sons, not to be creepy, and a few of the daughters, sisters to those males. And she just was too aggressive, chasing them all over the place. None of the fish were having fry anymore, especially the males. And so what I had to do is remove her from the tank, and for now she's in a small holding tank. Basically she's in solitary confinement. I'm not going to put her in with the other tank, which I'll show a little bit later in the video. So the point is, the long-winded point, is to have emergency small containers for various different things. Something like a tank might leak and you got to throw some fish in there right away, or medicate them, or in this instance solitary confinement for a very mean female. So that's what's going on with that, and I'll move on to some of the other stuff. What do you call a herd of sheep falling down a hill? A lamb slide. Lamb slide. Oh God, that's awful. That's so awful, it's terrible. Alright, so one of the other things I wanted to go over was I do a lot of crosses. I try to use a 2.5 for crosses if it's a trio or 2 pair. And I also run into some problems when I use a 5.5, which I'll get to in a minute. And I was getting nothing 2 months out of the 3 males and 2 females. And so what I did is I had to take them out of the 5.5 and move them into a 2.5, which I'll get to in a second. These are the full black Moscows. It's another pair I have. A little tough to see them. And this is Tiger King Cobras, which are doing really well. So let me get to the fish that I moved around. So there's an airline in the way. So this is it's 3 Russian red lace snakeskins and 2 of my half black pastels, females. So since I was getting nowhere in two months with them in a 5.5, I decided to cut down the amount of space that the males have to chase them around in. Now one female in the back kind of looks like she's filling up, but not enough yet. There's not going to be any fry out of these knuckleheads for quite a while. The other female is not filling up at all yet. So that's one of the other things I try to do if the cross isn't working. I moved them into a smaller tank, and like I said before, it cuts down on the amount of room that there is so that the males can catch up to the females. So these males are pretty active, so I just don't know why there hasn't been any fry yet, but we'll see. So since I took them out of their 5.5, in a little bit I'll show what I put in there. And for now, these are some more of the full black Moscows. There's some red lace snakeskins, and I moved the a young batch of black Moscows, or actually the full blacks, and are only 10 weeks old, and these males are just about all colored up already. They have a little bit larger pec fins than most of the regular black Moscows, and they're really doing well. So for now they're in a 2.5, and I'll move them into a 5.5 in about a week. Of course I have to empty one, which I will get to. So alright, some of the other things I wanted to show. It's another tank I set up of the All Red Albinos. These are breeders. I believe I have 4 pair in there, possibly 5. Normally I would have more females, but I made another tank downstairs that large female came out of, and so I actually have a 3rd tank of breeders of these fish. So we'll see what I can get out of them, because I do have a group of fry growing out from one of the other females I have, and these are doing great. I just haven't seen fry in there yet, so I put a lot more plants in there, just a thin leaf water sprite, and we'll see what we can get out of these things as I move things around here. Try to get a close-up, and there we go. So how much money does a skunk have? 1 cent. 1 cent. God, that's awful. Terrible joke. Alright, so what I wanted to get to, besides the terrible jokes, and getting to the point of reusing some other stuff in the fish room, or repurposing for the fish. I use these deli containers. That's live baby brine shrimp in there. Now there's a few ways to get the brine shrimp out of there. I like to use these things, ear wash thingamajigs, and I have a few different ones. You can also use the condiment containers. Here we go. You see them somewhere with ketchup or whatever in them. Taco sauce. Is there taco sauce? No. Anyway, so that kind of stuff. And I also try to repurpose these things are little yogurt cups, and I use that if I have to acclimate some fish. I think everybody uses these specimen containers. These are fantastic for unexpected drops of fry, or if my cories lay eggs, I have a place to put the eggs. And the other thing, just regular Pepsi, Coke soda bottles or water bottles. So you take the label off and you end up with a pretty good container, which you can use like if you treated some water with some medication or something. Obviously shake it up and then dispense it into a tank a little bit easier. I have a feeling you could also use these to ship fish in if you really wanted to try it. I didn't do it. I haven't tried it, but you would have to tape up the opened the cap pretty good, because I think some air could escape. So probably duct tape or something. And then the person getting it's going to go nuts trying to open it. Another thing is great in the fish room for either treated water or whatever else you can think of to use, or the creamer for your coffee. Just take the label off, clean it out really good, and so I use some of them down there. And this might be the coolest thing I've ever bought in the fish room. Look at that! It's the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's actually an it's an ornament. Now, I got it off of eBay, I think. It's not the original. The original one's worth a heck of a lot of money. And this one is, it's a knockoff or whatever. Now, I haven't put it in a tank, even though I'd love to. But I'm just afraid. It was made in China. No offense to China. But I have a feeling that that paint is not safe for aquariums, despite what they say. And the other good thing to use, I use regular eyedroppers that you can get from a pharmacy or anywhere really. And I use that to dose in. I put a few drops of Melafix in when I do water changes, or if I have to dose with Quick Cure. Their tops are unbelievably bad. You can end up squirting in 50 drops before you know it. So these things are like $1. And I use these. They're actually glass. And so anyway, so that's some of the other crapola that I use. And I'll get downstairs in the fish room and show the other 2 tanks I talked about. So I'll be right back. Alright, so this was the 5-gallon tank that the red lace snakeskins and half black pastel cross was in. So what I did is I moved, I had 5 of the red dragons, the original female, and a few of her fry, which are throughout the tank. So I put them in there. She had another drop of fry, so even though the male died, she is still hit, so I should get one more drop out of her, or I have a bunch of red dragons growing out. So I will throw one of the males in there once they develop some more. But you can see that she has a little bit of red tint to the tail. So anyway, I'll get to the other tank of breeders of the, what did I say, All Red Albinos. There we go. Actually, interestingly, there is some fry again in the tank with the half black pastels that I got about a month ago. So I'm gonna have to get them out. But anyway, to wrap up the video, this is the it's really intense red albinos. They have some of them females have long fin. I think I have one long fin male in here. That one right there. He was a late developer, but the Gonopodium gets long right away, so they can't do anything. He's just in there because there's no place else to put him. And you can see the males are fairly aggressive, and this is actually the mother of the males in the tank as well as the females. And I have one other batch from her that's growing out pretty nicely. And let's see if we can get to them real quick, and then I'll end the video. I have to move these guys and gals out because there's a lot of hair algae growing, and each female dropped fry. So I'm just going to raise the fry in the 5.5 and move them into a different 5.5. I also just got a drop out of the Panda Guppies, so I'm going to have to do the same thing there. And as I kick a bucket, this tank has to be cleaned up, but also these fish have to be moved into a 10. So for now, obviously they're in a 5.5. They spent the first couple of weeks of their life in a 2.5, and they've been in this 5.5 for about the last month. And they're going to go into a 10 for the remainder of their growing, as soon as I can figure out who I can move out of one so I can move them in. So the males are starting to develop. I believe I have a couple of long fin males in there as well, but it's going to take another week or two for that to pan out. So I'll probably be able to sell some from this tank because I have 3 breeding tanks now, and so I can spare some. Took a while to get started with these, but they're moving along really well. So anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments or send me an email. Put the email address in the video description. And thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. And see you in a couple of days.